I don't know if it's just a me thing, but I really struggle with having as many opportunities as possible, and specifically with my journal, having a new blank page to put something in. Welcome to Parking Lot Philosophy, the only show that the visual aids are in the passenger seat. I really do. I'm 100% serious. I struggle with a blank page, with a blank schedule, with a free day in my calendar. I'm someone who's always kind of had a lot of things going on. In high school, I had all sorts of things I was working on. I always had side projects and things on top of schoolwork, and then also my dad had his own business, so I'd be helping with that. So I've always had like a lot of things. Even looking at it a few weeks ago, college was the same way. I was in a bunch of different student organizations. I had a student position on campus. I was getting 2 degrees at once. I've always had a lot to do, which usually meant my schedule was pretty full. But now that I'm working full time, my schedule's very different. I'm coming into adulthood. It's not like I have a lot of free time, and so when I do have a free day, where it's like, okay, my wife and I, we're not doing anything with family. We don't have any, chores or projects we're trying to catch up on. I don't have any like outstanding tasks that I need to do for work. I just have a complete free day. It's really kind of a struggle to figure out what to do, because part of it, I play video games. I play video games a lot. Usually I use those as a way to relax. But when you have a free day where it's like, okay, for once I have nothing I need to do, to have that, I mean, it's kind of daunting how many different options I can do. And so for some reason, like half the time I'm like, well, I guess I could like sweep, or I could do dishes. Like it feels kind of wrong to like clean and do things like that. And it's not like I actually want to do it. It's just like I got to do something, and I can't sit still. And it's a very tough feeling. And I think I'm kind of figuring out where that comes from. And it's because I've been journaling. Journaling's a habit I've had for a really long time. I started in class in high school. There was like a class where we had to write some journal entries. I wrote a little bit there. And then I found my journals in college from that class, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And so on and off, I've been journaling for, 6 to 8 years at this point. Through journaling, I've recognized that it's not necessarily, oh, I can do whatever I want or anything like that. It's the fact that I have nothing directing me at what to do. And I think that's what's really kind of the most, like, the toughest part of this whole process. There's this Doctor Who episode, and I don't remember which doctor it is, nor do I remember which companion. I think it's Clara, but she has this leaf, and it's supposed to be like a leaf that, has, for some reason or another, I think if I remember correctly, it's, Clara has this leaf, and this leaf was something that her father gave to her, because this is the leaf that, hit his, wife in the face, and then because that leaf, hit her, they had a laugh, and they eventually, got together and got married. And it's showing all the possibilities that a single tiny inconsequential thing like this can have, all the possibilities that it can make, and all the changes it can make in the world. And it's this entity that feeds on stories, on information like that. And so compared to the Doctor, who's this timeless being, lived for at least thousands of years, who has so many stories, this tiny inconsequential leaf, it is more energy, than this timeless being. And I think that is really complex writing, really interesting writing about opportunities, choices, and a blank plate, a blank canvas. Not having anything is so, I mean, it's incomprehensible how many different things I could put on a blank page in a journal. And just like with any choices, I put so much weight onto it that I'm like, I mean, what can I put here? Nothing I can put here has the value of, infinitum. And so I end up not putting anything. And it's been a struggle for me lately. I got out of the habit of journaling. I had journaled at minimum every other day. But I had some things going on in my life where I was just like, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna chill. I was doing too much. Now I'm kind of coming back out of that and being like, okay, I'm reset, starting to journal again, and it is kind of a challenge. But the biggest thing for me is I've been trying to recognize. It's kind of like you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Um, a mediocre day, a mediocre journal entry, a regretful, workout, whatever it is, that is not a negative. That is not. It is still a positive. I think it's so hard for us as humans, and especially I think young people. I mean, my whole life it's been go, go, go. Now I'm actually getting into where I'm controlling what I'm doing. I'm getting into where, you know, I see what social media has, what everyone's doing all the time. Um, I'm really getting into my life all of a sudden, and it's like, well, it's not as fast or as flashy as I dreamed it would be, um, but I think it's real. I think it's reality, and you look at some of the greats throughout history. Their life wasn't necessarily anything crazy either. I mean, their life was like Marcus Aurelius, or is that who wrote Stoicism? I never remember. I'm gonna put an image and I'm gonna edit this together slightly. But Marcus Aurelius, I mean, he has like a journal entry in his reflections or whatever he called it, um, about like not wanting to get out of bed in the morning. I mean, as simple as that. Like one of the most simple, inconsequential like pieces of your day, not wanting to get out of your bed because your bed's too comfy. And that was something that he experienced. And I don't know, it's such a weird to think of these historic figures. Like I imagine that Einstein, someone who was constantly dabbling on like the most, I don't know, coming up with relativity and things like that. He probably was also like, you know, man, fuck, like, what do I do after that? I just think it's so funny. Um, but we don't recognize these things. And I think that it's really an opportunity for growth and an opportunity to kind of recognize and reflect. And it's like, got plenty of time. I'm young. I mean, I don't know how many, maybe like 80 or 90 odd pages in this journal. It's not going to matter if even if 70 out of the 80 pages are completely, they're a bad journal entry. They're 70 more journal entries than I've put in right now into my new journal. Um, and I think that's a really valuable lesson. It's just about, yeah, it's daunting. Yeah, there's a million choices. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't seem like the right choice necessarily, or the right journal entry in this case, but maybe sometimes that is the right entry. It's the one that you write, and it's the day that you have, and it's the thing you work on. And I don't know. It's just, choices are weird. They're tough, but I think you can't regret them. You can learn from them. You can learn from mistakes. You can learn from, um, bad choices you've made, but you can't ever regret them because the choice has been made. You can't take that weight with you all the time. Otherwise, you're never gonna write in your journal again. So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. Um, yeah. Bye for now.